Take 472.95 Niner. I want to get this episode's intro perfect. So I just got to be blunt, I guess, because writing a script for this human being is dumb. Episode 10. Episode 10 being a milestone episode. But also, this one I will always remember in a special way. For one, on how it was shot. Two, the guest. Because I couldn't be more proud of this human being. Episode 10 is with Holly Coleman. I met Holly over 7 years ago in IOP. She was still in active addiction. And I'm going to just be fucking honest. If you would have told me that in 7 years you're going to have a show that is going to interview people with 3 or more years of sober, clean time and how they maintain that sober, clean time, and Holly Coleman's going to be on episode 10, I don't know if I would have believed you back then. Holly quickly proved me wrong about couple years later after I saw her and her now wife, Ellie, at a comedy club, and we became friends, all 3 of us. I love these 2 human beings so much. I was able to be at their wedding. When I first asked Holly to do this, she was down. Everything was hectic. It was busy. And we finally got a Saturday, and I said, Holly, where do you want to do this? My house, your house. We can go to another space. I have an outdoor studio. She said, you know what? I'm the most comfortable from the chaos of my couch. And I said, well, let's fucking go. This episode is shot guerrilla style, man. This is a raw look into this wonderful human being's life. She's got an 8-month-old son who is just wonderful. I don't even know if I can say all this without tearing up because I'm so proud of her. This episode has a baby. It has dogs. It has cats. I got made out with a wiener dog. And it was wonderful. This is chaos. But this is Holly's life now. The life that she's worked so hard to build. And it's beautiful. And I'm just so proud of her. Here's episode 10 with Holly Coleman.
Yeah.
And
so the cameras wear off.
How does it work when it comes to like getting donors and stuff?
It's a lot. It's a lot of extra, a lot of extra everything, and a lot of weirdness. A lot of extra weirdness. We were actually really blessed in our situation because it ranges from being, mildly cost effective to like astronomical. Like, you better be rich as heck to even be able to contemplate being able to go through this process.
I imagine.
Yeah, because I mean, even like I said, we were really blessed in the way that we went through it, but it was still like a lot of additional cost and legal stuff, and the stress of making sure that a contract was good, and then there's also a lot of extra legal stuff now that he's here too.
Yeah,
that we have to do.
I had on episode 1 my friend Becca, who's married to Robin's co-teacher Cherie.
Yeah.
They have one 16, I think she's either 15 or 16-year-old now that came before Becca.
Mm-hmm.
Cherie had Becca before with her ex-wife, and then they had Beckham with when Becca was in the picture.
Yeah.
And she was saying the same thing. Like, she was just like I didn't ask too many questions because I know you way better than I know.
Yeah.
But she says the same thing. It was like, it's always like he's 5 now, almost 6. And every now and then there's still something that pops up that they got to throw in paperwork wise or something.
Yeah.
And that just, either way, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And it really is.
That is having my friends like you and Ellie and Becca and Cherie and then my cousins. That's where like the only thing I'm really getting back into political stuff right now, because I don't want anything taken away that can help amazing people have a family.
I know, and honestly, there's not a whole lot. You know, they don't make the process easy as it is now.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, going backwards like we've gone backwards in so many other things anyway isn't going to do anybody any favors, for sure.
It's absolutely,
because he was a dream. You know, I mean, he really was. I don't think either Ellie or I really, I don't know, like necessarily fully believed that the dream would become a reality, you know, but I don't know. I'm just blown away. Every time I look at him, I'm just
you're like, glowing, yo.
He's my baby.
You look completely different, like energy wise, smile wise, and you've always been happy since I met you when Ellie was in comedy, and then you know we came back together, and
after IOP,
you were not happy.
I was a mess in that IOP.
You know, I was talking. Tony did an episode.
I saw, and I laughed when I saw it because I was like, I remember, you know, he would look at me and just be like,
"Yeah,
I don't get it."
We talked about you.
Really?
I told him, and you know, he sees so many people that he has to be reminded a little bit.
Yeah.
But he remembered you.
Yeah.
And he was like, "How's she doing?" I'm like, "Fucking amazing."
She finally
like she's amazing, dude. Out. Like her and Ellie both. He was like, "That's the same girl." I'm like, "Yeah, they're both doing amazing." Like they haven't like been around that DOC in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They're both happy, amazing. Ellie's doing great with comedy. Holly just had a baby, and like they have a beautiful son, and they're happy. And he goes
crazy,
and it made like he smiled a lot during that episode, but that was like ear to ear, and he teared up a little bit.
Oh, that makes my
I love that dude.
That even makes my heart happy because I want so desperately to find good people in the process of like helping addicts. You know, like all the people that we interact with. It's so. You don't always find all good people, you know, and when you find good ones, I just want so desperately to let them know you at least impacted me, you know, like you at least made a difference for me. Yeah. Because you know, that has to be so hard to be in that day in and day out and constantly. Like I can't imagine. I mean, even just living with myself was a horrible
right.
So dealing with that day in and day out, like I think it's a hope shot to be able to.
I'm honestly I'm tearing up a little bit because I was excited for this to talk with you because we were in the same IOP. I did see you then. You saw me then.
That was the first time I met you.
Yeah. And it was like we were both pretty rough.
Oh, that was one of the worst points of my life. I had just lost my nursing license. I had just come out of Wilmington Treatment Center, but I started using the day I came out.
Yeah.
So I really didn't have much of a will yet at that point.
Yeah.
I was in there because I was supposed to be, but
you had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wasn't taking anything out of it because I just was choosing not to. And I think it was very obvious at that point too that it was.
You were still using in IOP. Yeah, I remember because we talked to you one morning and I felt so bad. There was one morning where like everybody was just kind of like ganging up on you. And about like, yo, you're going to die. Mm-hmm. And they weren't wrong.
No.
But at the same time, I'm like, yo, this isn't what we do here. And we left. And I don't remember someone said something like, man, I hope she heard what she was saying. I'm like, I don't think there's any fucking way she didn't. Sorry, buddy.
Say, that's going to be my first word.
I know. I'm so sorry. Mr. Billy has a problem of keeping his tongue in front of his daughter, too. Luckily, she hasn't gotten in trouble yet.
Yet. We're going to work really hard for him to know context because there's just no way that we're not going to cut.
No, I know.
It's not going to happen. It is literally like I have scallywag tattooed on my toes. It is valid. I have a potty mouth. I know when to stop it, but no, in my home,
Yeah, it's hard.
Unfortunately, yeah.
My thing
We
is,
try. We clean it up some.
Tilly said the other day, because it's me and Robin's thing, we dropped something, we used the GD, like, oh, damn it. And then the other day she dropped something in the bathroom. We heard her on the monitor. It was like, oh, damn it. I'm like,
oh, God.
And we looked at each other and we pointed at each other. It was like,
that was you.
There's no telling who it really was.
It was just us.
When was the last time you did use?
I think we're coming up on 5 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because whenever Ellie went to jail, because we tried to get clean for so long. In the end, we really did.
Yeah.
It was a long road, and because the second time around, we got put on methadone.
Yeah.
And we went through that whole process, which was a horrible monster that
I hear.
I do not have anything good to say about. But that's its own argument. I know everybody has. But we were stuck there in that for a long time. And Ellie got locked up. So she came off everything in jail. But I was still on methadone. So I fought with them finally. I wanted to get weaned off forever and ever. And they never wanted to let me wean off. No, you're going to get high again. You're going to get high again. And I was like, no, I'm ready. Like, I want to be off of it. And they finally weaned me off, and it took like an extra year, I think, after Ellie had gotten home before I was totally off of the methadone, and they let me go from the clinic. But even at that point, like, I considered myself clean even then.
Yeah.
Especially once my dose came down to like a really low, because like in the beginning, before they ever started titrating me down, I remember, I'd go get my methadone every morning, and then I suddenly just didn't really remember anything until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but I was a productive member of society. And then as that started to come down slowly, and then that started to go away, and it was a struggle. It was a push-pull of going through it, but it wasn't, we're just trading cats. It wasn't, it was a much better process of coming off of it than poor Ellie had, but
yeah. And then you guys, like I always talk in this show, you got it? Whoa, no, hold on to the ear. We only pet, we rub.
That'd be sweet.
Go sweet. I talk about how everybody does everything different. And nobody judges. You shouldn't judge. And that was one thing that was like kind of ingrained in my head.
Yeah.
Like, if you're clean, you're clean. If you're sober, you're sober. I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had alcohol in over 7 years. I don't plan on it. But now for anxiety reasons, now I've kind of held this to anxiety. Mm-hmm. But like for the CBD, THC gummies, things like that, like that's the only time I really mess with that.
Yeah.
Now. And I just kind of figured like it was better for me. I wasn't being as constructive as a parent.
Yeah.
And I was kind of being absent and kind of feeling like, I kind of
checking out.
Yeah. Kitty. I forgot that thing swivels.
Don't do it, Bruce. He's want to claw it. Shoot it.
Let me put something under it so it doesn't swivel. Any other camera breaking, I could be fine, but the one that Uncle Billy's still paying off.
Let's not. Here. Or you can slide it back too if you want to. It moves easy. Just slide it. I move this sucker around all the time. Yeah, there we go. There. Now you just mind your business over there, Bruce. He's like, I saw a basket. I saw a basket. It's a bed.
And then Mike Van Vliet, like still smokes weed on a regular. Like my whole point.
California clean.
Yeah, California
clean. Which is a
clean.
lot more accepted thing, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like that was my biggest struggle in my interim. So I had 8 years of recovery in the rooms and in NA. And then I had 4 years of a relapse. And then I got clean again and had kind of a different getting clean experience. And like, I don't know, I feel like my whole journey has been trying to find what it is that works for me specifically, and losing that like such black and white idea that I feel like it's so easy for us to fall into anyway as addicts. Like, I want black and white. It is what it is.
Yeah.
There is no gray area.
You have to do what works for you.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that there's a little bit more of I'm way happier now at this point in my life and at this point in my recovery of what it is to me than I ever was during, really extensive amounts of clean time.
Yeah.
And I think it's been just a journey of getting to know myself a little bit and like being okay with someone else not necessarily being okay with how I have to live for myself to have peace. And I won't apologize for it.
No, and you shouldn't.
And that's a big difference too, which that comes with age too, I think so.
Yeah, I think you just kind of get more who gives a damn?
Yeah, you do. You get worn down. You get worn down and jaded, and like it's hard for me because I'm a huge perfectionist. I've struggled with that a lot my whole life. I have a really big problem, Carl. I have a really big problem with perception and like my perception of myself and other people's perception of me, and like the thought of not being seen as weak or flawed or imperfect. And boy, that can really put a hurting on you when it comes to like trying to interact with.
It's an emotional turmoil is what it is. It's like a downspin.
Yeah. And learning to, I found more peace in that kind of acceptance after accepting that I was an addict,
Yeah.
than I did in a lot of things.
I think the biggest kind of hurdle for people like that, because I'm like that too, the biggest thing that got me over that, Pam, right there. When Tilly was born, all care about what anybody thought went out the window.
Yeah. And just my perfectionism and like my, I outwardly will present my anxiety as like, I have to clean everything. Everything must be perfect. And like I lose my mind with clutter and things like that. And like just allowing him, like learning how to like be like, all right, Holly, just sit still and let him make a mess and just leave the mess there. Like I'm not chasing behind him and cleaning it right up. Like, no, don't explore, don't see anything. And like having to like force myself to learn that.
Can you do it
like,
now?
Yes, a lot better.
Nice.
I still have a lot of days where I'm like an ass hair away from completely losing my ever-loving mind. Because it's just, I'm just that way, dude.
You would not be able to walk through my house.
Oh, right now, this looks like a freaking hurricane in here. Like, I am so uncomfortable
internally.
So nice
in here. Like, I've never really seen your house look dirty. Like, I think once when y'all were, like, renovating.
Yeah. And the whole kitchen was torn out.
Understandable. But it still wasn't as bad as most people's houses.
It's just my neurotic
Tilly's room has toys covering every ounce of the floor. Every time I clean the room, she just goes back and goes, that's not where that goes, Dad. Like, she is so OCD. Now, are you going to be
like that?
I'm sure he is. Are you going to be open and honest with him about like addiction and the troubles and everything?
Yeah. I just lost my mom. Memorial Day was whenever we had found her. And I lost her to an overdose. Like my mom was 70 years old and she died from drugs.
Right.
And I struggled so much of my life. I'm 37 now, and basically from the time I was 15 on, I was just, balls to the wall and struggling. And my mom never once offered me any kind of identification. Like there was never, she turned to religion and God to, absolve her of her past. And that was her method of dealing with it. And then not ever, I guess, really owning it or interacting with it again. So I went through all of those struggles, really completely feeling totally alone and completely like the black sheep, not even realizing that there was addiction all in my family. Just nobody ever wanted to own it.
Oh.
And like I I felt worse, I feel like, as an addict, not knowing, like, I don't, when it, you know, like, I don't know, like when it's in your genes and like it's in your family and like you know that there's that predisposition to it, at least it gives you like a heads up. Not that it necessarily would have changed anything, but I still feel like it would have made a big difference in my own struggle of feeling like, am I worth anything? Like, am I worth, why am I the only one like this? Why am I the screw up when everybody else in the family is so great and everybody else can love God and you know, fit the church and like all this perfect stuff, and like I'm just everything opposite of all of it. And I don't ever want him to feel like that. I don't ever want him to feel like that. And the reality too is that life, as beautiful as it is really ugly.
Yeah.
And really screwed up. Mm-hmm. And like, if I don't tell him, somebody's going to. Yeah. You know, like the world is going to definitely tell him. So I'm not going to do him any favors by pretending like he's not going to interact with that.
Right.
To me.
Right.
And I mean, I feel like there's a way and a time, you know, and like my level of honesty with him, I feel like will change as he grows.
Yeah.
But I do want to always be really open and honest with him. That's the biggest thing I want, because that's the biggest difference between me and my family.
Yeah, no, that's a very good way to look at it. Tilly knows. Yeah. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
She knows Daddy's sober.
Yeah.
And she went and told all of her teachers at school that her daddy was 7 years sober. And
that's something to be proud of.
And I got texts from all the teachers that day. And I'm like, thanks, Till. You know, like I don't keep it a secret, obviously. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I don't want my 5-year-old, 4 then.
Yeah.
You know, but they were like, no, that was a beautiful thing that she wanted to support you for that. She knew that mommy was really happy.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And you know, I think it being a hereditary disease is where I'm really gonna be very open and honest with Tilly about it. I'm already that way with the boys because they have it in their family as well.
Yeah, because I mean, once it's there, fast as hands. Once it's there, it's there. You know? And like, and we live in a world where it's there.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and like, and it's scary now too. Like, it's changing so much. I feel like an old lady to say it, but I'm like, the drugs just aren't the same.
They're not the same anymore as they were.
They're not the same. Do you want to go in your bouncer? I think you're bored of sitting with me. Yeah, let's go in your bouncer real quick.
You go get your bouncer?
Cut for a second. We'll see if you like it. See if you'll live with it.
Yeah, you got that bouncer?
You
know, Billy wishes that he had a bouncer he could get in sometimes and just be left alone.
There you go. Now you can move around some. Look, I'll even pull you over here. How's that? How's that?
Yeah?
Right. Cross our fingers. How long that'll last.
Beautiful.
He's such a sweet baby. He really is.
His charisma.
Look, he's looking at the camera. He loves the camera.
Yeah? Yeah? Hey,
he's
buddy.
The camera.
Look, I got cats. I know what you're thinking right now. I didn't realize one of them was in there yesterday with when I was interviewing a gentleman yesterday, and then he's like 18 years old, and he comes up from under the black canopy and then starts licking his leg, and he had no idea. Nobody knew.
Probably smelled like that one's 21.
Oh, wow.
He's 21. We took a he photoshopped in like a cigarette and a beer. Because he's legal now. I love that cat, but he's so crusty. I mean, he's 21. He does not care anymore. He's like, if you want to pet me, you can. I might give myself a bath. I probably won't.
Robbins has one that's the oldest one. He's not doing that well. And I'm having a problem because she gets to go to work. I'm there 24/7 working. I have to deal with the missed litter box. I have to deal with his thyroid issue of eating stuff, knocking things off of counters. I'm on a call with a customer. I hear a crash in the kitchen, glass everywhere. He's just pretending like he's sleeping on the floor. It's a lot.
It's
so
hard. Senior pets are a lot.
I'm not gonna.
It's hard.
And you know,
it's not fun to watch either. You know, it hurts your heart.
Yeah,
it hurts Robin's heart.
It does. It hurts Robin's heart
because it was her cat. Yeah.
And last night I made a comment. I was just like, he was like, yeah, that guy's on his way out. Or Mike said it, the guest said it. And I'm like, uh-oh, here it comes. And then I was like, yeah, not soon enough. And then I could just feel. And then it's so inconsiderate of me because she had those cats before, like the boys and through houses.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say stuff like that.
It's hard. It really is. I had to suck it up and learn too to be kind and remember whenever we went through Clyde. God, he was like literally the best dog on the planet, dude. He really was. And it's hard. It's hard when they age. I wish they lived longer. That's another thing. I'm getting old. And I remember my mom being like, I just don't even want any more pets. I don't want any more. I don't want to have to go through that again anymore. Yeah. And I used to be like, you're just cruel. Like, what is wrong with you? How could you feel like that? And now I'm getting old, apparently, and I'm over here like, no, I totally get it. It's hard sometimes.
I'm never gonna have another animal. I'm not. Like, I had Ramsey, and he's the best dog in the world. Now I've got these old animals that are just falling apart, and my house kind of, not all the time, but they're old cats, old dogs, so they smell like old cats and old dogs. So it's like, I just have to,
It's finding a way to live,
It's hard for me to be sympathetic.
Yeah.
And I should be better because my wife deserves me to be better.
It's hard, too, when you don't identify with attachment like that, though. If you're not particularly attached to animals in that way, Like,
I totally am, just not these.
Just not these? Are you not like cats?
I don't.
Is it a cat thing?
I don't mind them.
Yeah.
I don't mind them. Like, when I first met Robin, Sylvester, the oldest one, that's not doing that well, was my buddy. Like, he'd come up, but then he got this thyroid issue, and he got old and senile and crazy, and now he has to eat 24/7, and then he just scratches at you, annoys you, knocks things over.
If you try to pour a bowl of cereal, it is like Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he is literally flying through the kitchen like a spider monkey. Like, I mean, you could bat him away and everything. Like, we have to give him his own bowl of milk, and he's the same way. And I've tried the meds and everything, and they don't,
I don't hate cats. I will say that I like them more
when they go outside
before this one got that old.
Yeah.
I like them more then.
Yeah.
Dogs I love.
I like it when a cat can go outside. I hate a litter box. God,
I just have a phobia of fleas. I got a bad phobia of fleas because I had a house that was covered in fleas.
And they're always, they're bad here. You have to be like on it.
My dad told me we had some in our house when we went out of town. And I was freaking out in Iowa. I'm like, no, burn the house down.
They're real bad this year too. Yeah, because it was so cold, or it was so warm last winter.
What do you think?
Look at you buttoning.
Yeah. You want to say something? Yeah.
You got an announcement to make?
What do you? He's so great. I can't stop looking. This is the best interview ever because it's not like set up like all the other ones. It's so real. We have all the real stuff happening around us.
My living room is the chaos center.
I got excited when you said that. I'm like, wherever you want. If you have like a table you want to, you're like, actually the couch, the chaos couch is where I'm like, this sounds amazing.
All happens. This is our little. We get more therapy on our couch with friends.
Of course.
We do,
I've had great chats in this living room. Like, what do you, when it comes to, here, this is one of the main questions that I ask is, so you have just over 5 years, you said?
Yep.
What characteristic do you still have from the old you that you see pop up and you're like, oh, there she is?
A long list.
Yeah.
I mean, they pop up, no matter how many times you squish them things down, they pop up.
Yeah, they do.
Obviously, my perfectionism is a huge one because that is so deeply ingrained in so many of my, character defects, I guess. There's character defects and assets.
Is like an obsessive perfection?
Oh, yeah. Like, it affects everything I do. Like, I hate social media because, I struggle, just putting a post on social media like, I can't just like do it in 2 seconds. You know, like I look at Ellie and I laugh all the time because I'm so jealous because like she can post like 17 things on like 5 different places
really
in like
can.
2 minutes, and
it's
great, and yeah, and it's all, and I'm like, it takes me an hour because in my mind I'm so caught up in that, like it has to look perfect, it has to be perfect, or it can't be, and like turning that off. I mean, that's been, that's been something that's been in me since I was way before using.
Yeah.
Got really beat up in using because using is the exact opposite of any type of perfectionism.
Right.
And then now that I'm getting older and realized what a freaking problem it was and how much chaos it was creating for me, I'm trying really hard to work on it.
So heroin is not a and that's so weird that you have that, because you can usually tell somebody's personal characteristics.
Yeah.
Like before they started using.
Yeah.
And then the DOC usually ends up in that direction.
Yeah.
I would imagine like heroin's kind of a messy, non-perfectionist.
Yeah.
So did that go away? Like when you got clean, did you realize like you weren't as a perfectionist and it slowly started to come back as your body?
No, I think heroin gave me a break from it for a while. Yeah. If anything, heroin gave me a really big break from it because there was always such a mental battle. That's what I always loved. Like that was why I ended up with my drug of choice, probably, is because I always wanted to just feel nothing.
Yeah.
And just escape and just blank out. Like I wasn't interested in being faster or moving faster. I just didn't want to deal, because when I was around, I was driving myself crazy. Like I might as well have been on cocaine or something, So it was like once I got to nod out, it was some peace for a minute, but clearly, not any real peace. But
how long did it take for you after the last time you used to start to feel a relevance of either you or the new version of you? Because we all have a new skin that we have to kind of get used to and get to know. And, hey, buddy, come here. Come here.
Definitely at least a couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like anytime I had a run of like real hardcore using, especially that stretches out longer than like a year or two, like it takes that long before like your body and like your brain chemistry even starts. Because like I could tell I was a lot more gentle with myself in getting clean this time because I kind of knew what to expect a little bit more, I guess, from the first time. And like just because the way that I did everything the first time didn't work for me long term doesn't mean that I didn't glean a ton of really good stuff out of it. Like all of the foundations of things from that first 8 years came with me into this 5. I just tweaked it and added a couple extra chapters and a few different, coping mechanisms that weren't necessarily there before.
Yeah. And you also had, which I personally think that is probably the most beautiful support system. Like you and Ellie were together during it all.
Yeah.
Got clean pretty much together and built this fucking amazing life.
It's crazy.
How many times do you, well, not how many times, but like what goes through your head when you just kind of clicks? Like, man, it's been over 5 years and look what we have done.
I'm just so grateful. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing any of the things that I've done with anybody else.
Yeah.
Like she really is my person. And I knew that like something the first time I ever met her, I knew like something in me knew something in her. And like, I knew that it was going to be a different process. And I think knowing that is kind of what gave me a little bit of faith to hold on with it, because it was really hard.
Yeah.
And like we're a really small statistic. Like I'm almost probably an unheard of statistic, because I can't tell you how many people told us like, y'all are never going to make it. You will never make it together. There is no way in hell y'all are going to do nothing but kill each other. Everyone told us how we would never be able to be what we are today.
Yeah.
And
those people.
Yeah.
Because look at you.
And 9 times out of 10, they would be right, you know? But you're not always right.
Not always.
You're not always right.
No.
And you got to leave a little bit of room for faith and a little bit of room for hope. Otherwise, what the hell's the point?
Yeah. Damn right.
There's no point in any of it. I didn't get clean. I didn't get clean to get stuck in one specific way of being and not feel like I'm growing. And I didn't get clean to be miserable.
Right.
And that's part of some acceptance too, I think, of like being okay with not everybody's going to be cool with my life, and that's okay.
People are the worst. There's people that aren't cool with anybody's life.
Yeah.
Like, I cuss in front of my kids, not at them, but in front of them.
Yeah. And there's some people that would hang you from a tree.
Oh man, my mom hates it. Like, yeah, you are.
All right. Here, you want this? You want me?
If you can get it in there, Mom.
You want me? You can come hang out. Just don't be too nervous.
Yeah.
Back to it.
No, I think it is a statistic where people, and you know, one thing I think credits you to on it is, as long as I've known both of you, neither one of you had really had not even one inkling of I care what you think. Yeah. Like, you both have pretty much been like, and I hate to use this reference because it could be a funny reference, I don't know, but y'all like the Thelma Louise of like recovery. Like, y'all, like, you came out of y'all got clean, you held hands, you're on the edge of that cliff, but you kept flying.
Well, like, and by the time that we got clean, you know, Ellie and I really had no one. I mean, like, we did have some family that, you know, thank God, still stuck around and cared.
Yeah.
Really, her parents. I didn't have, you know, my family. I had a really weird, messed up stuff with my family. But we came through so much. I think that's where that attitude and mentality came from, is that we came through so much together, and people really hated us together and really hated us using, which we earned a lot of that hate.
Right.
But it became such a, I don't know. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say.
I think it just kind of became one of those things of, you heard it couldn't happen so much.
Yeah, and we really felt like we only had each other.
Yeah.
So at that point, we were both so desperate and ready to just feel better and to get clean and not be the way that we were. That it was way easier to just be like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
What you think?
Like, none of you matter.
None of you matter, because none of you are here. You know what I mean? Like, none of you are here and living with it and dealing with it and experiencing it. You just have an opinion on it.
Yeah. Opinions. I hate people and their opinions. That's why I don't give mine out anymore.
That's why I hate social media. I feel like
it's
a lot of that is, social media has done us no favors.
No.
You know, like, the ability to, honesty without compassion is brutality. You know, like, we can say so much, and people get such big balls when they're behind a keyboard. I could say so much mean shit all day, every day. I really could.
Right.
Why?
What is it going to help?
It's not. It's not. And, like, just even past that whole idea, I know social media is super sick for me, because that's that whole concept of, like, here's a glimpse of my life, and look how perfect it is. And it's never the reality.
No, there's always a fire behind that backdrop.
But we hold ourselves to that standard. Yeah. And, like, our life is somehow, you know, even now, even with as much as, like, we literally came from nothing. Like, sleeping, we stayed in a hotel. At one point, we slept, we broke into the garage of her grandma's old home, and we're sleeping in there. We lived in hotels, and then we finally rented a room, you know, and now we're at a point where, like, we own our home, we have a baby, we're married, and all of these things. And, like, still, you can look around and be like, it's not enough. It's not enough. I haven't done enough. You know, like, and, like, that brain mentality is so crazy to me, where, like, I have to sit down a lot of times and be like, you've done a kind of an insane amount in just a little bit of time, even just in personal growth and, like, and the things that I've had to process, because there's been a lot this round for me getting clean, like emotionally. Losing both my parents was a big one.
Oh,
It was a
God.
whole big one, and been a whole different. It peels off a whole extra layer of that onion of like why I am the way that I am, and why things became the way that they did, and choices, and you know.
I think that's
That's
one
a
of my
lot.
biggest. That's one of my biggest fears.
Yeah.
Is the parents thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not too far off.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's further than closer, but you never know. That's
Yeah.
the thing about life. That used to be the thing I would say would make me go out.
Yeah, the one
Not
reservation.
anymore. Like if I didn't have Robin or Tilly or the boys,
Yeah.
it would be.
Yeah.
But then again, I was also trying to give myself
a reason. Yeah.
Back then. Now it's like, Tilly, I've said this a million times. Like Tilly will never meet that version of me.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Boys will never meet it. Robin will never meet it.
I don't want to meet that version of myself ever again. Dude, like I
think that version of you is long gone.
Me
I don't
too.
see that in you anymore.
I don't feel her, as much anymore. It's funny how like even like so many like really crappy, horrible things have happened in with all of the good things that have happened, and like there still hasn't been. I don't have those thoughts anymore. It doesn't occur to me. I have the thought process sometimes still, of course, of being like, God, I just want to check out. But it's not a thought process of I want to check out by getting high.
Right.
Or like, you know what I mean? Like it's not in that pathway anymore because I've got so many other pathways available to me now that are readily, just right there, and I just use them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm ingrained in that, and I'm used to that. And I don't know, there's somehow a little bit, I think I feel like I'm healing a little bit of that person in me that wanted to get high in the first place. I think as you heal, that's what brings peace, and that's what brings like a sense of not control, but closure and sanctity of the choice.
Yeah.
Like I always have that option.
Mm-hmm.
I always have it. And now that I know that I always have it and it's always there, I don't need it.
That's a beautiful way of putting that. It's a beautiful way of putting that. I think I can't stop looking at you because you're so adorable. It's a different, and I can't say this enough, like being in your living room right now, like I don't even feel the same vibe, which has never been a bad vibe in your house. But it's a completely different vibe of peace and happiness in this home right now. I'm sure you have a lot to do with that, Cash.
Yes.
That was a great name, by the way. Cash is the best name.
Cash McDaniel.
Yeah. Wow,
Cash
that's so strong. That is a strong name, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a good, strong Southern name. We'll see what you do with it.
What would
do whatever you want to.
What would you say to folks that are like, that would listen to what you just said there and be like, how do I get to that point? Like, how do I get to where I can see things as clearly as Holly just explained that she feels?
I think there's a lot to be said for really acceptance and personal responsibility. Like that, the willingness to dive into myself, into those places that I don't really want to go to. I don't want to think about the things that hurt and the things that made me the way that I was, like, but being willing to like really dig in and look at it and process it and feel it is the only way that I've found to be able to let it go. Like there's a lot of strength. You have to be so much stronger to accept and to bend than you ever have to be to stand. And I don't know, just the willingness to, I had to really figure out how to stop worrying about everybody else. Stop worrying about everybody else and how they're doing it and what's going on, and worry about me and like my responses. My reactions don't need to be based on anybody else's reactions or responses, just really kind of being willing to get to know myself and to give myself a break enough to get to know myself. Like I had to know going in that I was about to look at a mess, and it was going to be okay. I could clean the mess up, but I can't clean anything up if I'm not willing to look at it. If I'm not willing to look at it and I'm not willing to see my part in it and accept the responsibility and the action behind it, then it's not really going to do me any good. It's
kind of stepping outside of yourself for a minute.
Yeah.
To see what's around the surroundings and how to create a path.
Yeah.
To see something. Yeah.
And utilizing the resources and the people around me. Like, just because something doesn't work all the way doesn't mean that I can't get something good out of it. Like, I don't ever turn down help, because help can come from some weird places sometimes, like you can learn something, being teachable, you can learn something from
anything.
A person, from really anything, any given time or moment. And it doesn't always come from where you're expecting it or looking for it. I hear you. Are you bored with me?
Say never, mommy.
Never. You want to come here?
I might feel that way for a second, but then as soon as you leave.
Yeah. As soon as you leave, I panic. You're not going to want to go in here. Let's see. I will put you. You want to look here? Oh. Macy, you come here. You get your books? All right. We got like 3 minutes. Bless his heart.
I think I have been in a weird mood today. I woke up, Robin let me sleep in, but I've been having these weird dreams since I started doing this show about like dreams of me drinking or using and things I've never done before. And it's kind of like been putting me in a weird place. And this has really kind of helped me a lot because I was doing nothing.
Hell yeah.
I was just being sober.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And getting angry and because that's mild is animosity and anger and just being irresponsible. And I'm a huge addict towards wanting things.
Yeah.
But this morning I woke up and like Tilly was like being the most beautiful, sweet, wonderful girl, but I wasn't seeing it as that. I was seeing it as I have too much to do for you right now.
Yeah.
And but you have put me in an amazing mood.
Good.
Like I knew you would too. See, the thing is, Holly, is you have this energy that pushes bad feelings away from any situation.
I love that.
There's been like you, even outside of like the comedy club one night, it's just in this bad mood. And then you were just sitting there on a bench. You're having a cigarette. I was like, can I get a cigarette? You're like, yeah. We didn't say really anything to each other. And then you made a joke about what Ellie was doing over here. And you were like, did you look at that fool? Or something like that. And she turned and she goes, what? And you were like, she goes, oh yeah, I heard you. And that vibe of, I don't know if it was the power of both of you or whatever. I laughed. I'm like, all right, what I was just mad at was stupid. Like, I'm not even.
I love that.
It's good.
That. I want to give that vibe, and that's a vibe that's always been a big thing to me. Because even in our home too, like I want people to always feel welcome and loved. Because the world sucks so bad, dude. It really does. And like that's a lot of times my argument behind a lot of points and things that I have in my head is, like the jaded, messed up things that I've seen living a life as a drug addict. I'm like, when you see some of those things, it kind of changes your perspective
Completely.
on a lot of points, and I just I just always want people to have an opportunity to feel love and worth.
Yeah.
Because I know what it feels like to not feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the world spends so much time day in and day out making us feel that way.
Yeah.
That why don't we take the time out to make each other at least feel like, even just smiling and just being nice to someone. Let someone over in traffic. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Let them over in traffic. Wait an extra 4 seconds for somebody to come through the door and like not let it close on.
Yeah. And I'm not always that way. Sometimes I will tell you what, I can be the meanest I've ever been sitting on this couch. Too.
Oh, I know. I know you do.
Because everybody will say, like, Holly's so sweet. She's so sweet. And people were saying that one night, and I think it was Jack. He piped up and he goes, "You've never hung out in the living room with her then." He really knows me because he's been in here to be like, which I'm not. I don't know. I'm probably mean. I am mean to an extent.
You're protective.
I'm honest.
You're protective.
I don't like bullshit. I am very protective.
I know. I've seen Ellie get like her mad or feelings hurt or something, and you were like,
I don't handle it.
The spouse clause came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo,
I'll hide a gun.
I ain't messing. I'll hide a gun and I'll show it to you.
I will. That's my ride or die.
What do you looking at just thinking about everything, because we can think about our lives in like 2 seconds. Thinking about from whenever you want to start that till right now in this moment, what are you the most proud of?
That baby.
That was quick.
That baby.
Yeah.
That baby is the best thing I ever did. That made me cry even to say it. He's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
And I am so blown away and honored that I get to be his mom.
Yeah.
Like just watching him grow, and I don't know, it just fills me up with so much and gives me so much of a different perspective. Like it has changed a lot of the way that I look at things, which I think really more so just in a way of like protecting of him and, and like looking at the world and being like, oh God, I'm going to have to send him out into it and wanting to like fix everything, and you can't.
No.
But yeah, he's definitely the best thing I ever did.
He's probably still ever. Yeah. No, that's been mine too. Yeah. I tried to answer these questions when I came up with them for people, and Tilly and Robin were like, they changed me.
Yeah.
Like they're, you know, and I'm sure that would be Ellie's answer too.
Oh, hands down. Yeah. She say it fast.
I know.
She's on my list too.
Oh yeah. I get it.
She's on my list too.
I get it.
But I already know he'd be above me on hers too.
Yeah. I think he's going to be A-okay.
I think so.
I mean,
he's going to be a cool kid.
One thing I've learned as being in my short time, I'm still a baby parent. Like I don't know anything. Luckily I got a wife that teaches kids for a living and learns like the development. And if you have any questions, like
you got it.
You just send her a message, be like, Billy asked Robin this. She'll be like, I'm going to give you a call, and she'll give you a 10-minute response of what you were doing right. Because it's
such a world where everything you do is wrong.
Where people are going to say it's wrong.
Or judge it. Or
like, I'll worry about Tilly like eating dirt or chalk or everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, honey, no, there's something wrong with her to where she wants to eat this stuff. She goes, no, it's normal development, Billy. And I'm like, no, it's not. Our kid's dumb. She's like, no, it's normal.
That totally sounds like me and Ellie.
She's normal development. I'm like
that's not normal. Like
she just threw up and she's doing it again.
He ate dog food the other day and threw up.
Oh yeah, Tilly does that too.
I didn't get there fast enough. I mean, that little sucker is so fast. It's insane. It'll be like 1 minute he's over here and I blink and he's over. You do what you can.
Yeah.
He's alive.
He's
alive. He's bathed. He's fed. He's well fed.
Yeah. That's good.
Happy. He's happy.
That is, kids are, I can't even believe I say this because I didn't even know I want kids until mine came along.
Yeah.
But it is the most life-changing, it's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's
it becomes
all that matters.
Speaking of, let me make sure
Yeah.
he's not pulling anything on top of his head. Oh no, we're reading books. Okay. Yeah, he's reading the Berenstain Bears, which I was super stoked about because I remember the Berenstain Bears from when I was a little kid. But then I realized I was looking at them, and it has like a little sticker on it that it's like apparently the Berenstain Bears went all religious. I googled it, and there's like this whole thing. So their son started a line of books, and like they have a little emblem on them. It's like faith based. So there's like Bible verses, and like the lessons are more like Christian faith based.
Yeah.
But it just like threw me way off because I was looking at this Berenstain Bears book and I was like, this doesn't look like it did when I was a kid. Because like I read all of them, you know, like I was all about it. I was a bookworm.
Yeah.
And then I noticed it. It was like, think about,
Yeah, no, I don't.
Berenstain Bears got all religious all of a sudden, you know?
Does he like books?
He loves books. At this point now, he's just, you know, he's playing with them. He loves Llama Llama Red Pajama, though. He likes
You
that
have a
one.
bunch of those. So I'm going to wrap this up with, man, I don't know, because you kind of, in a very beautiful, elegant way, answered everything that I could ask. And you did it on your own.
I hope so, because I feel mentally like I just word vomited all over the place and none of it made any sense. So
no, you made all
sense. My brain
that did the most sense. But
left a few out, I'm sure.
I just want you to know that I appreciate you doing this because it meant a lot to me because you and like two other people are like burned into my brain from early sobriety.
Yeah.
You know, like we lost touch. And then one night, here comes this mullet lady into the club, and I see her walking behind her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, my God, there's Holly. That's Ellie. And, you know, and I didn't want to say hi or anything because you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And we were fresh clean then, too.
Yeah.
We were fresh clean because we weren't even living here yet, I don't think. Because we've been in this house pretty much since we got clean, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really admire and think it's the most beautiful story, honestly. Like, they can make a beautiful movie out of you and with Ellie. And, like, it could be separate stories that come together.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my God, we should actually...
Because they're both crazy. I mean, like, both of our stories individually are crazy, and then the story that we've had together is crazy.
Yeah.
And we still, even clean, it's still crazy. It's just a different kind of crazy. You know,
happen to you.
It is. It's insane. We have the weirdest stuff happen, but we also have a lot of the best stuff happen. You know, like and a lot of the crappy stuff, which I guess that's life.
That's life.
Yeah,
but you guys take everything that come, whether it's a hit or whether it's a blessing or whether it's an inconvenience or another blessing, you guys take it all with such grace, never get knocked down, and you just kind of like, dust it away and keep moving.
We try.
And I admire that. I think anybody could take notes from how you guys have done your recovery and became these magnificent, wonderful, caring people. I think it's a goal that you reached.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Like, I would like to be that good.
Just don't take ourselves so damn seriously.
That's it. It's all a joke. But I hear him. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
You made my day.
Appreciate it.
Thank
it does
you
a lot
so
for me
much.
too, and I love to be able to remember. Sometimes it's good to just remember.
It is.
So you don't forget.
This side of the road has taken me. Wait, this side of the road has forsaken me. Thank